I was in Würzburg during Kristallnacht, in the dormitory. During that night, in that dormitory, which was in a very small street in Würzburg, in the middle of the night, we had noise, and they broke in. The janitor in that building, who was non-Jewish, he told us, "Get up, they are coming here, and they're going to make some ruckus, so get up and be ready to leave." There were about 50 boys in this building, and we stayed downstairs. We waited till about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Then the whole crowd of people came in, whole crowd. And they told us, go outside into the narrow street. They have cobblestone streets in Würzburg, and form lines of five abreast. In the meantime, they called all the populace in order to tell the world that it was not the Nazis, but it was the plain people, you see, the usual people. And they were standing at the side, and we walked through the street, and they were calling us names, they were spitting, they were doing all kinds. And we passed by the burning synagogue. Then they put us into prison cells in the prison, you see. And I was in the prison with about 15 people in the cells, and they kept us there. Every day, less and less people were in the prisons because they sent them to concentration camp. After 6 days, we heard the rumor, tomorrow we empty the prison. That day in the evening, they called us again. That was Thursday evening, I think. And they said, you 7 are free. Free, you can go. But you must report to the Gestapo, the Secret Service police, within 24 hours, each one in his homestead. Now, I tell you the reason why these 7 were let free is because we are stateless. You see, how do you become stateless? You lost your citizenship. Because I was a stateless person. Because my father was Russian, he lost the Russian citizenship. The German citizenship we lost for a long time. So we were stateless. So we had to go within 24 hours back to Bremen. We came to Bremen about 7 in the morning, and I called up my parents, but there was no answer. So I took a streetcar, and I went to my parents' house, and I called there, no answer. We have 2 entrances, one to the business and one to the private quarters. I went to that door, and there was a little piece of paper. It said, "Get the keys from the police department." While I was standing there, on the other side there was a furniture store, and the non-Jewish neighbor, very friendly to us, and he didn't want to go out to talk to me, but he said to me, he beckoned me, "Come in, I won't tell you what happened during the night." He told me that during the night, Nazis came in civilian uniform, and they called your father. When your father didn't come, they broke in there, and they went up to the bedroom, and there was my mother, and one brother, 2 brothers, because my sister was already in Hamburg, and they asked my mother, "Where's your husband?" Now, either she didn't want to tell them, or maybe she really didn't know, because my father went to this neighbor of ours who told me the story, and he told him, "I'm going to Sweden. It's a neutral country." He never went there. But they came up to the door, and they asked my mother, "Where's your husband?" Of course, she didn't know, or she didn't want to know, I don't know. But when she didn't say this, they killed her. We found a bullet. Now, for Nazis, if you don't answer them, you see, it's a criminal act, and you need this, and they need to shoot you. So they shot her. And I didn't know about it, of course, for all the 7 days I was in prison. And afterwards, before I left Germany, I asked for a death certificate. You know what they wrote in the death certificate? On this day, on the 10th of November, at 4:00 a.m. in the morning, they found my mother dead. They had shot her. They found her dead. So I heard that 2 Jewish women buried her on Friday, and I had to go to Hamburg to my relatives because I couldn't stay there with no one. And I came to Hamburg on that day. And I found my father there. He was sitting shivering. That means mourning after someone dies. And I found him there. And my younger brother, because he was just by mitzvah 13 years old, they had put into the orphan home. We wanted to leave Germany, of course. We wanted to leave Germany. Many Jews want to leave already right after Kristallnacht, and many did. But it was very difficult. My mother had written already to the whole world where we had acquaintances or so to help us get out. But they all said it will not be so bad and it will pass over. But then after Kristallnacht, we wrote again to one of my father's families in Saskatchewan in Canada, you know. And when he heard about this, then he said then he said he would do something, and he sent us a landing card. The landing card came in February, and it was good for 3 months. We had to leave. My father went to Hamburg, and he met a man from the Cunard White Star Line, and this man helped us to get to Britain, and from there to Canada. My mother was always there, and I could always go to her, and she strengthened me, and she was my religious influence, and I knew her and her family. And mother's a mother. She was always a spiritual leader, and not only that, also in other ways, our family life was very close, and I miss her. And unfortunately, she was killed. There were many people killed in my family, not only that. Other family members were killed. My grandfather, for instance, my father's father was already killed in Russia. There are always bad things happening, but we still believe in these people who gave us a tradition and who brought us up, and we always learn something from everyone.